Hello everyone. I Akhilesh Kumar Tiwari welcome you all to lecture number 35 of Swayam online course on emerging trends in renewable energy technology. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about the electric vehicles and its charging infrastructure in India. So let us start with an electric vehicle. So an electric vehicle, also called an electric drive vehicle, uses one or more electric motors or traction motors for propulsion. An electric vehicle may be powered through a collector system by electricity from off vehicle sources or may be self-contained with a battery, solar panels or a generator to convert fuel to electricity. EVs include road and rail vehicle surface and underwater vessels, electric aircraft and electric spacecraft. EVs first came into existence in the mid 19th century when electricity was among the preferred methods for motor vehicle propulsion, providing a level of comfort and ease of operation that could not be achieved by the gasoline cars of the time. The internal combustion engine has been the dominant propulsion method for motor vehicles for almost 100 years, but electric power has remained commonplace in other vehicle types such as trains and smaller vehicles of all types. In the 21st century, EVs saw a resurgence due to technological developments and an increased focus on renewable energy. Now we will talk about hybrid vehicle. So what is a hybrid vehicle? Basically, a hybrid vehicle combines any two power sources. Possible combinations include diesel or electric, gasoline or flywheel and fuel cell or battery. So typically one energy source is storage and the other is conversion of a fuel to energy. The combination of two power sources may support two separate propulsion systems. Thus, to be a true hybrid, the vehicle must have at least two modes of propulsion. For example, a truck that uses a diesel to drive a generator, which in turn drives several electrical motors for all-wheel drive, is not a hybrid. But if the truck has electrical energy storage to provide a second mode, which is electrical assists, then it is a hybrid vehicle. These two power sources may be paired in series, meaning that the gas engine charges the batteries of an electric motor that powers the car, or in parallel with both mechanisms driving the car directly. Hybrid electric vehicles, consistent with the definition of hybrid above, the hybrid electric vehicle combines a gasoline engine with an electric motor. An alternate arrangement is a diesel engine and an electric motor. A hybrid electric vehicle is formed by merging components from a pure electrical vehicle and a pure gasoline vehicle. The electric vehicle has an motor generator which allows regenerative braking for an EV. The motor generator installed in the hybrid electric vehicles enables regenerative braking. For the hybrid electric vehicle, the motor generator is tucked directly behind the engine. In Honda hybrids, the motor generator is connected directly to the engine. The transmission appears next in line. This arrangement has two torque producers, the motor generator in motor mode, M mode, and the gasoline engine. Hybrid electric vehicles are a combination of electrical and mechanical components. Three main sources of electricity for hybrids are batteries, fuel cells, and capacitors. Each device has a low cell voltage and hence requires many cells in series to obtain the voltage demanded by an hybrid electric vehicle. The difference in the source of energy can be explained as the fuel cell provides high energy but low power. The battery supplies both modest power and energy. The capacitor supplies very large power but low energy. The components of an electrochemical cell include anode, cathode and electrolyte. The current flow, both internal and external, to the cell is used to describe the current loop. A critical issue for both battery life and safety is the precision control of the charge or discharge cycle. Overcharging can be traced as a cause of fire and failure. Applications impose two boundaries or limitations on batteries. The first limit, which is dictated by battery life, is the minimum allowed state of charge. As a result, not all the installed battery energy can be used. The battery feeds energy to other electrical equipment, which is usually the inverter. This equipment can use a broad range of input voltage but cannot accept a low voltage. And the second limit is the minimum voltage allowed from the battery. So basically, a non-electric vehicle contains an internal combustion engine and related parts such as a fuel tank, fuel lines, fuel injection systems, cooling systems and an exhaust system. Electric cars, on the other hand, are powered directly by electricity rather than a combustible fuel. An electric car has an array of rechargeable batteries, at least one electric motor, a controller that feeds electricity to the electric motor based on input from the accelerator pedal, and a charging system. In modern electric passenger cars, the electricity to power the electric motors is provided by a rechargeable battery pack, an onboard gasoline engine generator or a hydrogen fuel cell. In most electric cars such as the Nissan Leaf, electricity is supplied by a rechargeable battery pack that can be plugged into one of three power sources, that is a standard household outlet, an upgraded home charging system that cuts recharging time in half, or a quick charge station provided by a city or public utility. When an electric car's battery pack needs to be recharged, plugging the car into one of these three sources is as easy as plugging in a heavy duty extension cord. It can take as little as 1 hour to recharge the car using a high voltage public quick charge station, or as long as 12 hours using a standard household outlet. Now if we talk about the Chevrolet Volt, is a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle that features a small gas powered engine or generator. The Volt's battery can be charged by a standard household 120 volt outlet in approximately 10 hours. So when the battery pack is empty, the Volt's gasoline engine turns on and generates energy that is converted to electricity, which extends the driving range by an additional 300 miles or so on. Now, the Honda FCX Clarity is a fuel cell electric vehicle that combines hydrogen with oxygen to make electricity. The only byproduct of this vehicle is water vapor, which makes it one of the most environmentally friendly cars on the road. FCEVs must be refueled at a designated hydrogen refueling station, just as a normal car is refilled at a gas station. Within a normal car, a series of messy, chaotic, minor explosions are constantly happening inside the engine, producing tailpipe emissions which electric cars are not producing. A traditional car takes the energy from the repetitive explosions to create motion, while in an electric car, you are essentially taking the energy from your local power station and using that energy to produce motion. That's why electric cars are most dangerously quiet, they not running on constant explosion, and why the availability of charging station is so important to draw more energy from a power plant. Now, many electric car owners will choose to install a wall charger in their home for convenience and sake. When combined with on-roof solar panels, the cost to charge an electric car can become almost negligible. So usually an electric car can be charged overnight, but as we know, the Tesla's supercharger stations can get electric cars charged in about an hour. The new technologies in electric cars have lower lifetime emissions from cradle to grave, a lower cost of maintenance, and less noise and vibrations. While the main concern for many is still the range versus the amount of miles driven per day. Also, the cost have lowered substantially, with the cheapest version starting at barely over $21,000. So there is a reason why the first electric car was invented in 1859 but not refined until now. The change is difficult because of the complexity of creating new charging stations, improving the technology so it's practical to use, and essentially reinventing a lot of how we think about cars. But while this progress has been slow, at times it's been for the better and will continue to improve in the future. So this is all about the electric vehicles, hybrid electric vehicles and gasoline based cars. Now we will discuss about the charging infrastructure which is required in India to cater the demand of more charging stations. So India has one of the most rapidly growing automobile markets in the world and has witnessed an annual growth of 16% in the vehicle registration for the past decade. At current level, nearly 50,000 new motor vehicles, mainly of two-wheelers, three-wheelers or four-wheelers, get registered every day. So a key reason for the exponential growth in motor vehicles is high population growth rate combined with rapid urbanization. As per the World Bank, urban population accounted for 34.03% of the total population of India in 2018, an increase of 17%, that is 69.2 million people over 2011 levels. The slow pace of development in the public transport infrastructure has further led to heavy reliance on private transport. A recent study found that public transport has just 18.1% share in work trips undertaken in the city, with the rest being private. The rapid motorization has its consequences in terms of increased air pollution in the country. Currently, 15 of the top 20 most polluted cities in the world are in India, and the transportation sector accounts for roughly approximately 20 to 30% of fine particulate matter PM 2.5 emissions in Indian cities. So India is the fourth highest emitter of the carbon dioxide in the world as per a study by the Global Carbon Projects, which also accounted for 7% of global greenhouse gas emissions in 2017. The transport sector contributes around 10% of these greenhouse gas emissions, while road transport accounts for 88% of transport greenhouse gas emissions. The transport sector is the largest consumer of petroleum products, accounting for 98% of the total petroleum consumption and 70% of total diesel consumption. India currently relies oil imports to meet more than 80% of its oil needs. It ranks third in the world for crude oil imports both in terms of volume as well as value. Its oil import accounts for US dollar 91.43 billion, constituting 27% of its total spending on imports in 2017. The fluctuations in prices of crude oil and its availability in international markets pose challenges to India's long-term energy security. So, reducing the dependence on imported fuel and increasing the use of alternate fuel options can reduce India's vulnerability to fluctuations in global oil prices. India has clearly articulated its commitment to reducing greenhouse gas emissions at the Conference of the Parties 21. India pledged to reduce its carbon footprint by 30 to 35% in 2031 from the 2005 levels. The use of electric vehicles can be a viable option for meeting these commitments while reducing India's dependence on imported fuel. The transition towards EVs is one of the most promising pathways to simultaneously increase energy security, reduce oil imports, lower greenhouse gas emissions, and improving air quality. So, globally, EVs have emerged as the leading option for alternative transportation in the light duty automobile sector, with China leading the pace of adoption, followed by United States. Now we will talk about the electric vehicle market in India. So the government of India has identified electric mobility as one of the key focus areas for development. Sales of EVs are projected to reach around 10.5 million for the four-wheeler segment by 2030 as per Niti Aayog and RMI. The faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and electric vehicles FAME program was launched by DHI in 2015. It is the flagship scheme under the NEMP 2020 mission plan of the Government of India to enhance hybrid and electric technologies in India. The overall scheme is proposed till financial year 2020 to support market development for the EVs. So in this, phase 1 of the scheme has been implemented over a 2-year period starting from financial year 2015 to 16. Government of India has released its policy document on transformative mobility for all in 2017 with a vision for the future of India's mobility system. Spread over 3 phases, first one is 2017 to 19, then second phase is 2020 to 23, and the third phase is 2024 to 32. The plan entails taking near-term action to build political and market confidence, followed by phase 2, which involves refining regulatory incentives and policy measures and continued expansion of the charging network and scaling up domestic manufacturing. In phase 3, market forces are expected to drive full-scale expansion to meet e-mobility demand, electric vehicle charging infrastructure, etc. Internationally, along with the introduction of regulatory mechanisms to capture full grid value of EVs. As per Deloitte's Global Automotive Consumer Survey of 2018, the most common consumer concern preventing EV adoption in India is the lack of electric charging infrastructure. A well-established charging network may increase EV adoption, relieve range anxiety of consumers, and reduce the inconveniences associated with charging, which also serves to increase EV adoption. However, there are many challenges which need to be overcome and analyzed to ensure adequate EV penetration. A fundamental question to be resolved is who will be responsible for developing the charging infrastructure. In the US, there is disagreement about the role of utilities in financing, owning and operating EV charging infrastructure. So, in India, it is envisioned that the government will develop EV charging infrastructure, putting the distribution utilities front and center in the process. The distribution utilities face critical challenges in provisioning and managing access to EV charging infrastructure for consumers. A key challenge is the identification of necessary distribution system upgrades to support EV charging stations along with its associated costs and cost recovery mechanism. Distribution utilities need to analyze the impact of EV charging on the distribution network. Example, distribution transformer loading, increased ohmic losses and accelerated degradation of network components, and identify appropriate locations of EV charging stations to support EV charging while minimizing physical network impacts. Now, the commercial challenges include incorporating EVs in medium and long term network and resource planning, financing the charging infrastructure, setting up of pricing mechanism for EV charging to ensure cost recovery, and creating incentives to encourage adoption of EVs and the use of charging infrastructure. EV charging infrastructure. The Ministry of Power, Government of India released the guidelines on EV charging infrastructure on December 14, 2018, which basically addresses the need for adequate availability of charging stations. These guidelines were subsequently revised and updated on October 1, 2019. The guidelines and standards aim to enable faster adoption of EVs in India by ensuring safe, reliable, accessible and affordable charging infrastructure along with affordable tariffs, creating standard guidelines for EV charging businesses and encouraging utilities and other parties to be prepared for EV adoption. The Ministry of Power issued a clarification on EV charging in April 2019, namely that charging of an EV battery by a charging station is a service consisting of electricity consumption and hence should earn a revenue for this specific service. The value of the electricity is realized through a charging station operator and hence it's distinct from a typical sale of electricity. As such, EV charging does not fall under the purview of the Electricity Act of 2003 and is not subject to the other conditions of electricity retail distribution. This clarification has paved the way for participation of private players. The minimum technical requirements for fast and slow charging stations in the guidelines are as follows. So basically in the fast sector we have CCS, which is combined charging system with minimum of 50 kilowatt with 200 to 750 volts or higher with one charging gun, and next one is CHAdeMO, which is having minimum 50 kilowatt having voltage level of 200 to 750 volt or higher with one charging gun. Now in case of moderate or slow charging we have type 2 AC, which has minimum 22 kilowatt having voltage range of 380 to 415 with one charging gun. Now in case of Bharat DC 001 we have the power level of 15 kilowatt with 48 or 72 volt or higher and with one charging gun. Now we have the Bharat AC 001 having 10 kilowatts 230 volt with 3 charging gun and 3.3 kilowatt of each. Other requirements are specified as an exclusively transformer and related substation equipment having 33 by 11 kV lines, appropriate civil work, space for charging and entry exit of vehicles. The charging stations are required to tie up with at least one online network service provider to enable advanced or remote online booking of charging slots by EV owners. The EVSE shall be type tested by an agency lab accredited by the National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories NABL periodically. The guidelines do not specify load flow studies or other forms of analysis for locating PCS. However, the guidelines provide a rule of thumb. 1 PCS means the public charging station on a grid of 3 km to 3 km. One fast charging station in every 100 km on highways, which can serve as a framework for DISCOMs in identifying necessary network upgrades. Separate and independent consultative committees have been formed under the Automotive Research Association of India, ARAI, Central Electricity Authority and ETD 51 under BIS, which are evaluating charging and EV testing standards. The objective of these multiple committees is to help establish India's own EV charging standards. The key highlights of the report published by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency are as follows. The Bureau of Indian Standards and the Department of Science and Technology have been working on an indigenous charging standard for India. So BIS has published BIS 17017 derived from IEC 61851, which covered general requirements and safety for EV SE. The standards recognize DHI supported Bharat chargers, which is AC001 and DC001 discussed earlier, for low voltage EVs having voltage level of 120 volt. For higher voltage levels, the standard supports combined charging system, which is CC2 and CHAdeMO. There are additional 2 different working groups in BIS to decide on connectors and communication protocols, which will be important from an interoperability perspective. Until working groups have identified these protocols, the existing charging standards of Bharat chargers, CC2 and CHAdeMO, and their references to connectors and communication protocols will be followed. Now, what are the technical and commercial aspects of EV charging? So, to cater to the large demand of electric two-wheeler and three-wheeler, which form the majority of EVs currently on the road, India has adopted the Bharat EV Charger AC001 and Bharat EV Charger DC001 standards. Both charger types cater to the low voltage requirements for EV two-wheelers and EV three-wheelers, which is having the battery voltage less than 100 volt. The Bharat AC001 can charge 3 different vehicles simultaneously and provides an output of single phase AC 230 volt and 15 amperes. The charge rate for the vehicle is limited to 3.3 kilowatt at each of the 3 connections. The Bharat DC001 has an output of 72 to 200 volt with a maximum current of 200 amperes, that is 15 kilowatt. So, in this lecture we have discussed about the electric vehicles, the hybrid electric vehicles and the gasoline based fuel vehicles. In this lecture we have also covered the basic charging infrastructure required in India to support or to focus on the EV charging demand for the charging requirements. So, with this we will end our lecture here. Thank you for your patience and happy learning.